So we are now into my favorite time of year. We've just had Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite holidays, and we're now looking forward into the Christmas season. And now some people have very strong opinions about these two holidays, that we need to keep them separated, that Thanksgiving needs to have its own time and its own space, and Christmas needs to have its own time and its own space. So I hope I don't upset anyone, because this morning I'm going to talk about both of them together. Because I think these two holidays really come together to create a season of these last 2 months of the year. They really create a season of generosity and a season of giving. And on the Thanksgiving side, it's a time for us to reflect on all of the good things we have and all of the things that we've received in our lives and give thanks for that and focus on how we can give back and how we can pay forward all of these good things that we've received. And then, of course, looking forward to Christmas, one of the traditions that we all look forward to at Christmas time is giving gifts to people. That we think of the people we love in our lives, and we think of ways that we can get them presents that can show them how much we care about them and help them feel loved. And so with that in mind, this morning I want to talk about these ideas of paying it forward and things that we can do or gifts that we can give to people that really are meaningful, that really can help people feel loved. And so to think about that, to think about what kind of gifts someone could receive that would really be meaningful for them and really help them feel a sense of gratitude, I think we need to look no further than right at our Thanksgiving dinner tables. Because one of the things that a lot of families do on Thanksgiving, and maybe you guys just did this a few days ago with your families, is at the Thanksgiving dinner table, a lot of times we like to go around and ask everyone, what's something that you're grateful for? And it's a good opportunity to just reflect on the things we have in our lives and see what comes to mind of what we are thankful for. And in my experience, it's interesting because the things that you don't normally hear around this table are things like, oh, I'm really grateful for my car. It has this beautiful leather seats and this really nice stereo system, and that's really what I'm grateful for right now. Or someone saying, oh, I'm just so grateful that I have the newest model of iPhone. Oh, its camera is so good, it has so many features, and it's so expensive. Oh, that just really fills me with gratitude. For some reason, these aren't the things that we often think about when we think about really what we're grateful for. And people who have those things would obviously feel gratitude for them. People love when they are able to have a nice car, or if they're able to have a nice phone. It can bring us a lot of joy. But usually when we really think about something like Thanksgiving, our mind goes to different kinds of things. The things that I usually hear are things like, I'm grateful for the people I have in my life, for my friends and my family. Or I'm grateful for time I can spend with loved ones. Or maybe I'm grateful for my health. And these aren't things that you can buy at the store that are expensive and flashy, and there's not big commercials for these things. And yet when we think about what really matters to us in our lives and the good things that we've received that are really meaningful to us, it's not the expensive, flashy things, but it's more of these kind of things that have love behind them and aren't about how much they cost. And so with this in mind, how can we honor that? How can we take some of that energy and focus on giving back at Thanksgiving or looking forward to Christmas? How can we give gifts to people that can help inspire that kind of meaning and that kind of joy, rather than just giving things that are external? And so that's where I think we can learn something from our readings this morning, because they talk about what really makes a gift a good, genuine act of charity. And in our first reading, Jesus is sitting at the temple, and he's watching people come and put money into the treasury. He's watching people donate to the church. And he sees lots of rich people come by, and they can put large sums of money in there. And then this poor widow comes in, and she can only put in 2 mites. It's kind of like putting 2 pennies into the offertory. And he calls his disciples together and says, look at this. This woman has given more than everyone else, because everyone else has given out of their abundance, but she has given all that she has and her entire livelihood. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing for him to say, It's powerful on the one hand, but it's kind of confusing, right? Because do we think that we could really make that judgment? If I were to pull up the roll books for any charity and show the people who've donated the most, could we say, well, those people, those gifts really aren't as important as these people who've only given a little bit? Those are really the good people who are donating here, right? It doesn't feel right. There's got to be more to this. And so there's a reason that Jesus gives us this message, and he's talking about the power that there is in some of even these small acts. But it feels like there's still something missing, to this picture. And so when we go to the readings that I shared this morning from the Teachings for the New Church, Swedenborg is listening to different people give their ideas of what charity is. And someone stands up and they sort of give the other side of this picture. And they talk about the use of people being able to give large gifts of money. And they're saying, well, these are really powerful acts of charity. Because if you have enough money that you can help create a hospital or a shelter or an orphanage, or if you have enough money that you can create a charity and endow it so that it is able to continue serving into the future, then that's a powerful act, because you're not just helping one person, but you can help a big group of people all at once. So there's power in these big gifts as well. And I read what someone stood up and responded to them with. But it's interesting, the things that person did not say. That person did not stand up and say, no, actually, those gifts are not charity, because those people have so much money that those big gifts are worthless. They didn't say that. And they also didn't say, okay, yeah, those are nice, but the real charity, the real good acts that the Lord really sees are when people who don't have much, those people give. That's really way more. That's more powerful and more important. They didn't say that either. But the message that person had was that the quality of a gift doesn't come from the size of the gift or how extravagant the gift itself is. But they said that everyone gives according to their own ability. That we all give what we can, and that's what's important. That if we have the means, if we have the time and the energy and the talent or the money to give in a certain way, then that's great. And if we don't have the same time or the same talent or the same money or energy, and we can't give in as large of a way, that's what the Lord was saying in the passage from the Gospel of Mark, that even in those small acts, there is great power. But what's important is that we focus on giving what we are able to give. And that's where Swedenborg's words at the end come in and really give us the clear explanation of what it really takes for a gift or an act to be a genuine act of charity. And he uses two words. He uses justice and judgment. And these are kind of interesting words to use for this, but what it basically means is acting in accordance with justice, is asking ourselves, what does this person need? What would be meaningful for this person? What would be a just thing to be able to give them? And then we use our judgment to ask ourselves, how can I help provide that for them? How can I, with my means, help give this to someone else? And that's the key, is these two things, is looking out and saying, what can these people need? What would be a meaningful thing to give or do for someone else? And how am I able to give that in my own means? And when we think on sort of the Thanksgiving side of things, a lot of times that's about giving back for the good things that we've received. That we can be grateful for the things people around us have done or organizations have been able to provide for us. And we can say, I want to pay this forward. I want to help move this along and give this to other people. But one of the biggest things that I think stands in our way when we do this is that oftentimes we feel like this widow. That we might look around at all of the amazing things that we've received, and we see people who are doing amazing things. People who volunteer a tremendous amount of their time, or they donate a tremendous amount of their money, or they have incredible talents that they can use, and that's what we've been able to benefit from. And we might look at it and say, I don't have that much time to give. I don't have that much talent. I don't have that much money. So I can't give back the way all of these people have given to me. And so we might feel like it's not worth even trying, because the little bit that I could offer wouldn't make any difference. It would just be a drop in the bucket. But I think Jesus' words about this widow and her two little pennies that she gives us the message that there is no act so small that it's not worth doing for someone else. That even if we look at the things people have given us, and all we feel we can really manage to do right now is pick up the phone, call that person, and say, thank you so much for what you've done for me. I love you. If that's all we can do, then pick up the phone and call them and tell them that. Or maybe there's an organization that has done a lot and we've benefited from them, and we might look and say, I want to volunteer and help out, but I can't give all of this time the way lots of other people have. And even if we say, I could probably only volunteer for one day out of the entire year, then go ahead, volunteer for just that one day. There is no act that is so small that it's not worth doing for someone else. But what matters is that we are giving according to what we are able to give. It's not about comparison. It's not about how much money we can give or time we can spend. It's about us giving what we are able. And it's the same thing when we look forward into the Christmas season and we think about giving gifts and how we can show the people in our lives that we love them around Christmas time. That it's not about how much money can I spend on this person, or what's the most extravagant thing I can get on my budget, because that's really going to show them how much I love them. But what makes a gift meaningful are those two elements of justice and judgment. It's that we take the time to think about these people in our lives and say, what would really be meaningful for them? What would be something good and useful for them that would make them feel loved? And we ask ourselves, how can I, with my means, help to provide that for them? And maybe that ends up being through buying them a gift, through buying a present and wrapping it up and putting it under the tree for them to open on Christmas Day. And that's great. But maybe there's other ways that we can do it too that aren't about buying gifts. You know, imagine if we were able to call up our grandma and say, let me come over and help decorate your Christmas tree with you. That's not a big, expensive gift. That's nothing we can wrap up. But that would be something that we know would be really meaningful for her. It would be good quality time spent together. And that's something that we might be able to look at and say, I can help provide that this season. I can give this to this person. And that's really the message here, is that it's not, when we think about how we can give back for the things that we've received, or we look forward to Christmas and we think about how can I give the best gifts to the people I love in my life, that it's not about how much money we spend. It's not about how much time we put into it. It's not about any of those things. But it comes down to, if we think of justice, if we think about what would be meaningful for this person, and we use our judgment to say, how can I and my means help provide this for them? When we do that for other people, in whatever way that looks like, that's how we can give real gifts that have genuine meaning. And that's how we can really give the gifts that matter, that are more than just material things that we have, but can be tokens of gratitude and love, and can help the people around us feel our love. And even greater than that, it can help the people around us feel the Lord's love through us this holiday season. Amen. Please rise for a blessing.